We're sure you have more questions on this stealth variant, and so do we. So let's bring in our 9 Health expert, Dr. Pyle Coley, joining us live, giving us just more context about this variant. Now, we've heard that the stealth variant is harder to detect, but how is it different? Why is that?
So, Alex, the stealth variant has a lot of the same mutations as Omicron. In fact, about 20 mutations are overlapping, but it also has a bunch of other mutations that Omicron doesn't. In fact, some people say up to 28 different mutations. And one of the mutations, which is different from what Omicron has, is the one that allows us on our lab testing to tell that it's Omicron. So the stealth variant is almost dressed up in a disguise on our lab testing. It tests positive for coronavirus, but we can't tell that it's an Omicron variant rather than one of the older variants like Delta or an ancestral variant. So it's almost caught us a little bit off guard because it's been around for a while, but we haven't been able to pick it up on standard testing. Now, if you do advanced genotyping, that's how we can tell that it's a subvariant of Omicron.
Okay, I think I might know the answer to this question, but you told us just a couple of days ago that if you've gotten Omicron, you can absolutely get reinfected with Omicron again. What about the stealth variant? Does that mean we can catch this if we've had Omicron?
So we don't yet know just how much our antibodies against Omicron are going to protect against the stealth. But the good news is that most experts feel that there's enough overlap in those 20 mutations that it shares that you will probably have some degree of cross protection. Again, knowing that the protection overall tends to go down over time, but probably an Omicron infection will protect you against the stealth variant infection.
Okay, and so we've heard that Omicron is, not as strong as other ones. It's not putting as many people in the hospital, certainly, like we saw with Delta a few months back. So why is this stealth variant, though, so concerning to health officials, even if there's not an increase of people being in the hospital?
Yeah, I don't think it's the variant itself, because as you said, we're not getting in the hospital more. Maybe it's a little more transmissible. Maybe it evades our immune system. But I think it's more what the variant represents, which is the idea that the virus is getting smarter than us. And I like to think about that scene from Jurassic Park where the velociraptor is opening the door and learns how to open the door handle, because that's essentially what we've done. We've taught the virus how to evolve to not just trick our immune system, but now even trick some of our laboratory testing so that we can't see what the virus is doing, and the variant could almost emerge without us knowing about it. And that's what's going to happen in future variants. Then how do we keep our eyes on where the pandemic is headed?
Oh no, now I'm afraid to ask. So what does this mean? What does this new discovery of the subvariant mean for the pandemic as a whole?
Yeah, well, nothing again for this particular variant. We're not so worried. But to me, what this tells me is that we are seeing evolution happen here in fast forward. And we've seen in just the last 2 years so many different variants. Now we're seeing subvariants emerge, and every generation of variant is a little smarter, a little trickier. Now, we got very lucky with Omicron because it evolved in such a way that it became less aggressive and less virulent, even though it was more contagious. We just have to hope now that the cases go down very low before another variant emerges that could potentially be, more aggressive and more virulent.
All right, we're keeping hope alive. You're always very honest with us, Dr. Coley, and we appreciate that, plus a Jurassic Park reference to boot. So, gotta love it. Thank you so much.